Hello, this is Keith Rucker at VintageMachinery.org, and we got another little project we're going to be working on today, share with you guys. I don't think this is going to be a big, long, drawn-out project by any means. Fairly simple, but you know, the last video, or one of the last videos that I put up, we were making these little support brackets that go on a grinder. So you know, they fit on here on the edge of a grinder. You can adjust this in and out, and it's a little bracket that you mount this piece here on, which goes up against the grinding wheel. It's a little table, the little support table. Well, anyway, we made the two support brackets. I have one of the original table brackets here. It's not in terrible shape, but it's actually been welded up here where I guess it's been ground down. Someone came in, it looks like, with some nickel rod. This was cast iron. Looks like they welded that up and ground it back down. But anyway, we've only got one original. We need two, so we're just going to make two so they match. This one here, there's really nothing terribly wrong with it, but I think it'll look better if the two pieces match. So we're gonna make two of these. Again, just like with the these brackets, the two pieces need to be reverse of one another. So there's a left and a right basically. So one of them fit on there this way, and the other one, you know, it's going to have to be the other way around. So we'll have to make two of them that are mirror images of one another. So I'm going to zoom you in here and show you this and kind of show you the game plan of what we're going to do on how to go about making this. Alright, so this is the piece, and again, you got this little bracket here, and there's a hole that goes through here that the bolt goes into, and it just basically just bolts up to this, and you can adjust the height of this up and down, and then on this slot you can adjust it in and out from the wheel depending on how worn your wheel is. So again, this is the part we're making, and the originals are cast iron. We're going to make them out of steel. I just don't have time to make patterns and get these cast. And so the table part we're just going to make out of some it's 3 inches thick, so we're just going to use some 3/8 inch steel, and then there's this little bracket here, and we're going to machine that out of a piece of steel. So this piece that will come up off the bottom, again, that's going to be made out of steel, and we're just going to weld it in place. So that is about an inch and anywhere from let's just call it an inch and we'll call it an inch 200 thousandths wide. It really doesn't matter what that outside is, and of course this is tapered because it was cast and they had to be able to extract it, so the top has got some draft to it. It's smaller up here because that was in the mold that came out. So anyway, I think we'll probably just go with an inch 200 thousandths on that diameter, or that measurement, and then this other one is about an inch and an eighth. So I got this piece of steel, and you know, it's an inch and a half by an inch. So what we're going to do with this piece here is we're going to just mill this extra width. So this is about the width here. We'll mill this off to that height. So it's going to be about 3/8 of an inch we cut off in that direction, and then in this direction obviously we're going to mill most of that off, and it won't be quite as wide here as this one, but it's not really going to be that critical. It's just going off to a bevel. So we're going to do that, and then after we mill the top flap, we're going to come in here in the horizontal mill, and we're going to cut a groove in here. So the way this was originally designed is you got a groove in here that this square head bolt can go into, and it's actually a little bit bigger than it needs to be, but we're going to cut that groove in there so that this square head bolt can slide up and down and not spin, and then we'll come in there and actually mill out the slot on the vertical mill. I think I'm going to use the horizontal mill. I've got a 5/8 inch cutter, and we can just cut all that in one pass. It'd be fairly quick and easy. I could do it on the vertical mill, but as you guys know, I like playing with my horizontal mill, so that's what we're going to do it on. So we've got a face mill here in the milling machine. I've got this mounted up now, and basically all I want to do is I want to take about 250 thousandths off of that, and we'll probably do it in 2 passes, and let's do it. So the next step here is we need to mill a 5/8 inch slot in this piece of steel that we just got squared up. I've already got this in the vise. My vise is already squared in and all that on the mill from the last time I used it. So we're going to real quickly set an arbor up to do this, and I'll go through this another time for you guys that may not be as familiar with the horizontal mills. So, you know, I've got a this is a 1.25 inch arbor here that we're going to put in here. So let me there's just a drawbar on the back of this that we'll use to tighten that up. Alright, that's good and tight. Alright, so now that we got that tightened up, we're going to go ahead and put some spacers on here just to get the cutter out from the back. Probably a little bit more than that. You know, these have a keyway in them. It's kind of tight. Have a keyway in them to kind of hold them in place. So that's out far enough, and now we're going to put on our cutter. This is a 5/8 inch wide cutter. It'll go on here again onto the keyway, and we'll just stack the rest of the arbor up here. That's out far enough. This is my bearing bushing that it'll ride on with the outboard support here. We'll put another spacer on the end there and come in here and tighten it all up with a nut. That's good. Alright, so next we'll pull the overarm supports out. I've just got a little rack and pinion gear over here on the side that allows me to put these where I want them. And I'm going to bring them all the way out right now. We'll wipe these down just to make sure there's no grit or dirt or anything on them. Same thing here, we'll wipe the inside of these down. And go ahead and tighten up the bolt up here on the top. Now it's got that firmly mounted to the overarm supports, and now again using the rack and pinion, we'll just back this up right onto our bushing. That's good. And now we'll go ahead and tighten the arm supports in place by tightening up these bolts up on the top of the mill. Alright, so we're ready to go ahead and get this cutter set up on here. I hope you can see in the video I've described in here the 5/8 channel that we're going to mill out of the middle, and I just used my dial caliper to put some just hit it with a Sharpie pen and just scribe that on there, and I've got some guidelines to go on. You know, this is nothing critical as far as getting this exactly in the center. It's just a slot that a bolt's going to go in, so if we're off, you know, if we're off 1/8 of an inch on either side, it's really not going to matter. So I'm just going to eyeball this. We'll just get it up there. We'll get it close on those scribe lines, or we'll go. The depth on this cut is going to be about 600 thousandths. Again, it's not critical. So we'll just probably dial that in using the dial on the mill and let it go. So let's fire up. And I'm going to slow this down a little bit. We were cutting aluminum last time, so we were at about 660 RPMs, and on the steel we need to get down a lot lower. Let's see, that's about 93. I think that'll probably be fine. excuse my head here. The light was coming in from that way. I couldn't see it from the back side. That's pretty darn close to being where I want it to be. That's touching off right there. All right, I changed my mind. I'm going to use the indicator. It's going to be a little bit quicker just to dial it in with that. So we're going to come up with 600 thousandths. 100, 2, 3. Uh-oh. All right, quick adjustment here. The edge of the arbor support was hitting the vise over here. It just needs to move out about 1/4 of an inch, and it should be fine. So that's why we do a test run here. That should clear it there. Well guys, after all that, I'm still hitting down here on the bottom, so what I'm going to do is go to a larger cutter, and I dug around in my cutters over here, and I got a larger diameter 5/8 inch cutter, which is in good shape, so we're going to swap these out real quick. All right, let's do this again. We're going to dial up 600 thousandths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, we should be ready to go here. We want to slow my feed down a little bit. We'll start with the 5/8 inch per foot feed. The 5/8 per minute feed. Get some coolant going here. And let's start cutting. so there's the piece after machining, and turned out nice. Looks like I'm off just a little bit. It's not exactly in the center, but again, that's really not going to matter. The whole purpose of that is to be able to capture the square head bolt. And you know, why do that on the horizontal mill versus the vertical mill? We could have done that with an end mill on the vertical mill, no doubt about it. But you know, you couldn't. It'd be hard to take a full 600 thousandths cut in one pass over there on the vertical mill. Probably would have had to make at least 3, if not 4 or 5 passes to really do that well. Whereas on the horizontal mill, I was able to take it all in one pass. So you know, really, it's a time saver in this situation. Yeah, it took a few more minutes to set that arbor up, but not a big deal. I think in a day, I was able to get it done quicker over there. But it could be done the other way, so it's just a matter of choice, I guess. All right, so now we're going to get this, you know, thinned down. So we're looking at this. You see we got the little 45 goes down, and it's just sticking up a little bit there. So we're going to mill the top off, put a 45 on here. We'll do that on both sides of this. And then cut the slot down the center on each side, and then cut it in half, and we'll have the 2 pieces that we can weld onto the tables that we're going to make. Alright, so we need to mill off about a 3/8 of an inch off the top of this. I've got this set up already. I've scribed the line on there where I want to come to. So we're just going to raise the table up. We'll probably do 3 1/8 inch passes and get that down to size. So alright, we'll flip that around, do the other side. Alright, just a quick update of where we're at. So now you can see how this is kind of coming along. You know, we got the original there. Here's here, so all that's left now to do is cut the slots and then cut them off to length. The head will fit down nicely inside of that groove, and that will basically capture that bolt and hold it in place. Alright, so I got a 3/8 inch end mill in here, and I just centered it up by eye. Again, it's not that critical. I got some wiggle room in there, so I'm not going to take the time to you know, get it on here with the edge finder and all that. So this is ready to go. We'll just fire up and let her roll. Alright, we are just about through with this. Now you can see we got the slots in here. The bolt goes in there, captures all the way. And again, we made both pieces in one part just for ease of work holding and stuff. I've got a section in here that it's just a waste. You know, that was actually the length of the piece of metal that I had, and I opted not to cut that off first because I wanted to have that extra metal in there to grip in the vise while we were cutting these grooves. If I knew that if we had it butt to butt, there was only going to be maybe a half an inch of metal in the bottom holding it, and I was worried that we would squeeze these together, so that was really just left in there for work holding. So I've got some marks on here now. We're going to cut this off, and I think we're just going to do it by hand on the bandsaw. This part is too short to be gripped in the vise on the automatic cutoff bandsaw, so we'll just do it by hand on the bandsaw. We'll zip them off there and there, do a little weld prep, and we're ready to weld these to the plates. Alright, so we have cut the tables out now, and again we just use this as a pattern. We flip one over to get the mirror of it, and here are the uprights, and these are going to be just welded in place right here. So now when we do the welding, I've already gone here and done some prep, and I got some bevels all the way around there so I can get good penetration. But we do have this real thin cross piece down here on this piece here. So when we do this, what I'm going to do is we're going to get a good tack on both sides of this, and probably do a little weld on one side, do a little weld on the other, and kind of go back and forth. If we heat one side up real hot and not the other side, these could start moving in on each other. And so we're going to try to keep the heat more or less even on both sides, and just get these welded on there all the way around. So we'll just kind of get those on there. I'll probably get a clamp, clamp those in place, and we'll weld them up. Alright, we're just holding this together with some vice grips. I've got everything laid down flat here on the bottom, so this should be pretty flat across the bottom there. And also had a good idea. Andy actually suggested this for me while he's standing over here being quiet and not wanting to get on camera. But he said, let's put a piece of 3/8 inch key stock in that slot, and that'll help keep it from contracting. So we did that as well. So I think this is ready to weld now. Alright, we'll do a little grinding there on the front, and I think we'll be fine. Alright guys, I think we got these all finished up, and the new tool rests are now on the tool rest holders, and I even dry mounted one here on this one guard that I have just to make sure everything's going to fit, and it looks like this is going to work great. The only thing we may have to do is, depending on the grinding, we may have to cut this notch out a little bit deeper, but we won't know that till we get up there and put these on there, but there's enough meat there we can do that if need be. So after we got through, we ground this front edge down that where that weld was. I did put these on the mill and just got a nice flat surface on the top. There was a little bit of pitting in these, so we just ran that face mill across the top. I didn't do that on camera, but just to get a good flat surface, and then put everything into the bead blaster. Sandblasted it down just to get the texture nice and the same all the way around, and these are pretty much ready to paint and go back on there. I'm going to bring them up there just like this, and then they can paint them the same color that they paint the grinder when they do the grinder restoration next weekend up in Illinois at the Arnfest event. So as you see, we got full adjustability. We can move this, loosen this bolt, and that slides it in and out to the grindstone. This one here will allow it to go up and down and tilt it to an angle. So we're going to call these parts a success and call them done. We have a left and a right to go on the other side, and all finished up here. So that's pretty much it, guys. This job is done. One more down in the book. So Jonathan, here's your grinder rest. We're all ready to come up to Chicago next weekend, or Union, Illinois, to the Arnfest event, and we're going to restore this grinder. So I'm planning on bringing my camera along up there, and we'll hopefully get some video of this grinder restoration as well as some of the other stuff going on, and maybe over the next couple of weeks we'll get to post some live footage, or not live, but footage from the Arnfest event. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys later. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you all my many subscribers, and keep those comments coming. Thanks.